Now, the longer Disney CEO Bob Iger decides to engage in his deliberate agenda with DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, by the way, is what it stands for, and everything related to the ongoing, situation at all of the divisions over at the Walt Disney Company, more and more actors and actresses are beginning to wake up about Disney's shenanigans, what Disney is all about. And I think that at the end of the day, when we saw the box office flop era of 2023, that overall trend of box office failures really kind of made a lot of actors and actresses beginning to really question themselves about their overall place in the Walt Disney Company. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So we've had a lot of actors like Ryan Reynolds, Henry Cavill, Gina Carano, and now even Jenna Ortega, which, by the way, we will be talking a lot about what's been going on behind the scenes between herself, the Disney heads, the executives, Bob Iger, and the ongoing issues happening behind the scenes between, of course, the financial situation of Disney and Jenna Ortega's team. Let's get into it. Now, one thing about all of this is that we know that Disney is in a constant phase of desperation and damage control. This is exactly why Bob Iger, likes to lie to the customers and the shareholders about Disney's overall financial status, about how he's not really concerned about their situation in the long term and the short term, about how they are quieting down the noise, and that they will not be engaging in a culture war, and that they were never about that. These are the lies that Bob Iger likes to make public. However, with the Walt Disney Company, of course, along with all of its divisions going through numerous challenges right now, one major development has to do with actress Jenna Ortega and what she recently did in the ongoing battle against the Disney heads and executives that is throwing them into a financial crisis with many of their projects. Now, after Ortega recently abandoned ship from the all-female-led Pirates of the Caribbean reboot that will officially no longer involve Johnny Depp, that is more, of course, an ongoing development as well. However, Ortega, one other Disney project that was specifically catered and designed to her, was reportedly going to rake in all of Ortega's fans and Disney's plan to make an established profit off of that film that was going to be animated from Pixar. Disney recently canceled this project after Ortega was having many arguments with the Disney heads over their forced agenda that was ultimately led, of course, and that was going to lead to a box office failure, essentially. The entire story and her character was reportedly designed for Ortega, and Disney had already invested, get this, millions of dollars into the project that recently just got cancelled after Jenna made it clear to her agent and manager that she no longer will be moving forward with any Disney project at all until the day comes when they drop their DEI agenda and forced narrative that would have only tarnished her career. Disney executives are already reportedly in a phase of panic and damage control behind the scenes since they overly invested in this project, with Ortega that they believe, of course, would rake in hundreds of millions of dollars globally but in 2026. And since the entire film was designed for Ortega's new character, with her now out, this film had to be cancelled/axed immediately about midway through pre-production. In addition to all of this, the other main reason, as it turns out, why Ortega dropped out of the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot that is going to be driven mainly by a female cast with different LGBTQ backgrounds by Disney is that she made an ultimatum that she would only stay on the project if and only if Johnny Depp made some form of an appearance or return. This created a serious divide between Ortega and her team and the Disney executives that included CEO Bob Iger in the arguments. Now, Disney remained stubborn and did not want to bring Johnny Depp back into the story regardless of reports of reaching out to Depp several times. They only took place before the final revisions of the script were placed in for that movie. Now, Disney analysts expected that Ortega, of course, and her involvement in 2 Pirates films would have easily upped the value of the story for marketing purposes, to bring in audiences into the theaters and Jenna Ortega fans along with them. Now, guys, let me just say one thing about this before I move on. Now, here's the other problem about Disney, is that they're beginning to go into this phase of using familiar faces, using upcoming actresses and or actors to kind of up the value of their films, or to really just embrace basically upcoming actors that have had major hits. For example, in this case, Jenna Ortega with Wednesday and the upcoming Beetlejuice, right? That's the sequel to that film. And so they realize that. They see these actresses or these actors that have a whole career ahead of them that they know is only going to continue to succeed, and that's their strategy. They want to continue to get actors like that will participate in their movies, that will bring their fans into the equation. They tried to do this with the Eternals, by the way. Didn't work out in the long run with Angelina Jolie. Didn't work out. They believed that Jolie fans would tune into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In fact, it actually backfired on them. It didn't work out at all. So what's interesting about this, moving onwards, is that they have a lot of things going on with multiple productions and how much is invested into these productions, whether it's Pixar or Lucasfilm or even Marvel Studios at that, and how some of these are getting canceled prematurely. That's really resulting in Disney losing millions upon millions of dollars, and it's only going to continue to get worse. Now, continuing on, with, of course, her animated film now also no longer a go, that already cost Disney around $20 million in investments through pre-production, that was about to get a full announcement by 2025. Disney also invested in Jenna Ortega's character to be at the forefront in Pirates, where many concept art, of course, artists were hired for designing her character that also went to a complete waste. As of now, Ortega is no longer involved in any Disney production at all, unless they promise to get rid of their deliberate agenda to the audience. Now guys, we talked about Bob Iger's new strategy of what they're actually brewing behind the scenes that's going to go active in 2025 for the years to come. They want to create this strategy where they want to make it like it's seemingly a back-off phase from their DEI agenda to kind of trick the audience into believing that they're beginning to change their ways, to kind of make the customers stick along for a couple of more years. And in the end, it's only going to be a temporary solution. Alright, it's only going to be a temporary thing when it comes to Marvel, Star Wars, or the Disney live-action remakes, whatever it may be, right? So overall, there's a lot of things coming out by Bob Iger. We know that his plan to step down in 2026 is just the beginning of it all. I fully expect a worse CEO to take his place in the next 2 years by, whoever they decide. We'll have to wait and see. There's already a roster that has been completed of who's going to take Bob Iger's place by 2026. I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be even a worse decision than Bob Iger / Bob Chapek. But overall, like I said before, Jenna Ortega really has a lot of courage, really has a lot of bravery in taking part in going against the Disney heads and really taking a stand. Do I think it was foolish of her to even think of coming back to Disney in the first place? Yes, but at least she corrected her ways in the long run. So overall, I would love to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.